The very simple question is, when you finally received the news, who was the very first person you thought of?
Actually, Sheryl Crow, because she was the one that invited me to play with her at her induction ceremony. And I think it made a lot of people realize that I wasn't in the Hall of Fame. So I think she managed to put me in front of everybody and said, look, he's not in. She actually said that. So, but it was, so yes, she was my first call too.
Oh, wonderful. And I'm uh, I'm sitting in the museum right now. I'm on the second floor in a space we use for studio space.
Mhm.
Um, on the backdrop behind me, you have Prince and Carole King and Bruce Springsteen and you know Jay Z and Slash and all these artists. On the
Mhm.
floor above me is the actual Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
and in that Hall of Fame will be so many people that you've performed with and that you admired. Um, from Billy Preston is now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You go to Ringo, you go to from the Stones, the Beatles, all the
Yep.
way through Motown, all the way up to the present. You will now have a plaque in that room forever.
Mm.
How, how does that feel?
Well, it's humbling, to say the least. Um, I had really stopped thinking about the Hall of Fame about 20 years ago and put it in the back of my mind because it was every year was getting a little disappointing. So to now find out, first of all, that I was nominated blew me away. And now to hear this terrific news last night, uh, I'm thrilled, but it's definitely a little surreal for me to finally be inducted, and I never expected it. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to say I never expected this. So it's you know, today's my birthday as well. So all my birthdays and Christmases are coming at once here. So so it's just wonderful, and I'm very grateful. You know who I'm grateful to the most? The people that voted. Everyone that voted, I know they did it over and over again, and I can't thank them enough. And I know they didn't let up. So I'm pleased for them because I think over the years, um, people have been more irritated that I wasn't in the Hall of Fame than I was, you
Yeah,
know. I'm a pretty much like what is to be will be, you know,
yeah.
and kind of guy. And so I'm thankful for everybody. I'm also very congratulations to all the other inductees. Most of them is way overdue, you know, and so I'm thrilled for them, more than I am for myself, actually.
Yeah. Um, well, you're very generous in your you know appreciation because the fans. You're right. They've always lobbied and pushed, and in the actual election, the nominating committee is industry experts,
Right.
and you went on the ballot for the very first time, and that ballot went out to all the other living inductees and some other industry people, and they're the ones that actually the first time you're on the ballot they put you in, and that's your peers.
Right. I don't think they could disagree with the public that much, and they didn't. So I think that's wonderful because I think if there'd have been a completely different situation, and those people that the public were voting to get in, if they hadn't got in, I think there would have been a ruckus. So I'm glad that the board decided, and the inductees from past and all the business people that were asked to vote. I'm glad they agreed.
Yeah, they did it was again first time. There was you're on the ballot, and there you go. That was what it needed. I want to take you back and to think about as you started your musical journey.
Mhm.
Um, the bit I've read, it sounds like you're a creative family, and that you were raised in a great environment. I've read a bit about your early influences with Buddy Holly and Eddie Cochran and those important artists and
Yes.
interactions and with David Bowie as young guys, and really that whole moment is sounds magical. Quite frankly, it sounds really powerful.
Well, yes, I just got a an email this morning from the very first engineer that I worked for, and that was not only one of the, I would say, the engineer's engineer and legendary Glyn Johns. Bill Wyman of the Stones at the time, obviously, was helping the band I was in, the Preachers. And I wasn't even 14. I was 13 when we went into the studio. And then the Stones had a TV show called Ready Steady Stones with an S, not a D. And and Bill chose my band to be on there. So before I was even 14, I was on Ready Steady Go, which was the biggest show in England at the time. So when I got that email from Glenn Johns, I said, "It's you and Bill that started all this, you know." And it takes me way back to 1963, 64, when I was just starting out in my very first semi-pro band.
Wow, that's really neat. I wasn't even thinking in 63, 64. I was thinking a hair later, and that's terrific. And, Glenn is one of those other inductees that when they saw your name on the ballot, I think they lit up and said, yeah, he really needs to join us. What a sweet man, and
Yes.
what an incredible ear, incredible music person.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness, yes. As I always say, I started at the top. How do you do that? Well, you have Glenn Jones as your engineer and a Rolling Stone as the producer. So that was pretty good.
yeah, I would say that the list of your collaborators, they're all top shelf. Um,
Yeah.
but
I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of champions along the way. And starting with Bill and Glenn, and then obviously with David Bowie. We went to school together, and so many other people along the way have Cheryl as well for what she did. But along the way, there's been so many people that have my career was pretty much nowhere when David asked me to be in his band for the Glass Spider tour. And he knew what he was doing because he knew me as the musician, not the image, not the pop star. And so it was I didn't realize what he was doing, but until afterwards, until the first press conference happened and everyone was all over me again. So it was he did a very good thing for me, and I thank him still every day.
well, great artists recognize greatness in others too, and they want to work with them and be around them. And that's very. I wasn't. I didn't think of that as that moment because we all look at your career as being so full, and with such success.
Hmm.
But that's an interesting chapter to do that. Very cool. So, is there anybody from this class that you're particularly struck by going in with?
Well, obviously, I mean all of them, but the one for me that is closest to me because I know them so well is Foreigner. Mick Jones played on my first solo record as a session guy, and um, and Rick Wills was my bass player in Frampton's Camel. So it's a family kind of thing. So, but I'm thrilled for Dave Matthew. Everybody, I know they must be feeling the same as I do, in as much as uh, it's a great feeling and it's a lot to take in. because it's a big deal. So I think of it as that. That's why I'm so humbled.
Well, it's a recognition for lifetime achievement. It's not one
Yes.
great song or one, you know, gold record or platinum record or triple
Oh,
platinum, maybe in your case. It's the whole body of work. Um,
and I would to that I would say I would not be here if it weren't for Humble Pie. And there's a band that deserves to be in. So heartily.
Somebody needs to do your musical family tree
Yes,
because
there you go.
it's incredible. At the very beginning of that family tree, who would you cite, as your influences, and in particular, those influences that now you're in the same Hall of Fame with them? Um,
Well, I mean, unfortunately, Django Reinhardt isn't in the Musicians Hall of Fame. Or I mean, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think he's in the Musicians Hall of Fame, but and many others. But he was an influence that I got from my parents because that's what who they listened to, the Hot Club de France. But I mean, obviously, Eric, um, Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, all those incredible players, Eddie Van Halen. The list, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I think every guitarist tries to listen to every other guitarist on the planet and steal. You got to steal from the best. That's what they say.
well, they're stealing from you.
Oh, no,
That's
no.
oh yeah. Um, in addition to Cheryl, when you got the news and you could reflect for a minute, um, what what were things that were coming back to you in the days and hours after hearing?
My mind was pretty much of a blur yesterday. Uh, I wasn't really thinking uh, that straight. I was just sort of deer in the headlights. So basically I was just thinking about my kids and how proud they are of me and how proud I am of them. And yeah, it's mainly the family that we've been on the phone and texting for the last 24 hours.
That's fantastic, really terrific. Here's one that I just, we do an exhibit to celebrate you, and fans will come from all over the world.
Mhm.
Um, this museum has been open for almost 30 years. We've had 15 million visitors, and we will have, 500,000 visitors through this summer, and lots of them will be Peter Frampton fans. Um, what iconic piece do you think they would really love to see on exhibit here?
Um, Well, I'll have to think about that. I mean, the thing is, my Phoenix guitar that got lost for 32 years obviously would be a wonderful thing there, but I use it all the time. But I've got, there's various guitars that I'm known for that it'll be one of those. It'll be a guitar.
Fantastic, love it. Any other thoughts? I'm sure you've got other requests coming your way, and I don't want to take up all of your time, but I'm really enjoying this and enjoying sitting here in Cleveland, knowing you're in Nashville and that you'll forever be part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's
Yeah,
really
that's a very heady thing to even contemplate. And as I said at the very beginning, it's something that I never expected. And so uh, this is something that it means the world to me, and the fact that everyone will know that I'm in there, and when they come and visit, they'll see my exhibit, they'll see my story and everything. It's phenomenal. So thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody that voted. Thank you.